It is MrSnowFoxy here. It's been quite a while, but we are back in Minecraft. I do apologize for the low frames. I'm having extreme PC troubles lately, but I'm powering through it with 20 FPS, so I hope you don't mind. And if you can't tell, we are in modded Minecraft today. Traincraft, I'm actually kind of late to this party, but Traincraft was finally updated to 1.7.10, and the actual latest bug fix patch for it for 1.7.10 was updated about 17 to 24 hours ago. So definitely a 1.7.10. I just added it onto my mods. It's probably not a good idea that I have 60 mods installed right now, but today I'm going to be revamping my crossing. If you don't know, my old system used a locomotive detector to send a redstone signal to a complicated piston clock setup, but no more is that a problem. We're going to start off, before we get into how to build this monster, we're going to get into how to set up the actual flip switch. Alright, there's two ways you can operate the flip switch. One with two locomotive detectors, one at the start of the crossing and one all the way at the end down there. Or you can use something like this. That's a lot of repeaters. And essentially what this does is the signal ends up right here. We'll take a look at all this stuff down there in a minute, but it ends up over here and it goes all the way down there and comes all the way back up here. And the reason this one is 2 blocks longer than this one is to allow it a block of space in between so that it doesn't loop around itself and cause a clock to happen, because that's not what we want. But firstly, let's just grab some redstone, some repeaters, a redstone torch, for this example a button, and a piston. Alright, now this, we also need a block to build with. This is something I learned about recently that I will be putting the link to the video that I found it from, as the clock itself thing was not my idea. So I will link to that video in the description below. Go check it out if you want to know. But I will touch on how to build it really quickly. So what you're going to need is you're going to need to place a block, a redstone torch, and you're going to need to place a repeater, another repeater here. Actually, hang on, let's reorientate that real quick. So redstone torch, repeater, 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 and repeater. And then you're going to need to place another block right here, a redstone torch. Now the first time I did this, I messed up. You need to put redstone right here along this side to the output. If you don't, you can't turn it back off. But this is our output line right here for the piston. Okay. So now we're gonna put our button, I believe, has to run into there. And if we push our button, you can see that it toggles, and now this redstone is on and this repeater is on, that torch is off. So I'm not going to get into specifics of how this works, because even I don't understand this redstone magic, but that's how it works. And the reason, you might be thinking, if you haven't watched my previous video, you might be thinking, Snow, the fuck, why do I need to know this? Well, you need to know this because that's what we need for this. This requires a redstone signal in order to operate. Let me just see what I mean? It will not operate without one. Turn that off because it's kind of loud. But it will not operate without one. So what we had to do was create a locomotive detector. Now I'm not sure if it's the same from my old video, But I'm pretty sure in my last video I used detector rails. Well, that doesn't work here. Even though Traincraft is based on the minecart system, it requires a locomotive detector. This, unfortunately, comes in the form of regular Minecraft rails, which is kind of sad because of the high detailed rails. But I noticed this thing right here. I don't know if this is new. I'm pretty sure it is. I might just be crazy. It's been a long time since I did this tutorial, but this is a crossing track, railroad crossing track, similar to real life where it has the track embedded in concrete. So yeah. And this little, don't mind this, I just made this little decorative thing to make it look nice, and I made this big ass layout, far bigger than I had to, and put these little spruce wood lattices by hand all the way around. Now these spruce wood lattices, if you're looking into make these, is actually from the garden stuff mod, and the railroad crossings is from the lamps and traffic lights mod. Now unfortunately the Planet Minecraft page for this mod was down, so I had to go to a really sketchy website to find the 1.7.10 version, but thankfully it worked. So when the Planet Minecraft thing comes up, I'll change the description to link to this mod below. I'll link the Traincraft mod and stuff below as well. But don't mind this whistle track here. There's no reason for this thing to be powered. It's just the redstone connects to it for some odd reason. But this is a diesel locomotive detector because our locomotive here is a diesel one. If you wanted to do this, you could replace this whistle track with a steam locomotive detector. That way, no matter what train comes on this line, it'll activate this. Now what I used is I used a system where the actual little toggle clock right there is actually right here under the ground. If we take a look, it's right here. Alright, it's right here. And when the train comes down here, comes right here, goes under here, feeds in right here, which causes the clock to activate, obviously. And that turns on both of these because it runs underneath the road here over to the other side. But that won't turn off by itself. So what we need to do is I added another one over here. And the reason this is so far away, approximately 30 something blocks I think, is because we need to be able to fit the train's entire length. You don't need to, but for the sake of correctness, I like to do that. You don't have to, but I like to. So when the train comes around and hits this, it'll activate these crossings and they'll just get finished lowering, and the caboose will come over here and then the crossings will go back up again. Now, you could definitely change this, and that's what I would recommend if you're using a super long line of cars. You can see I had the locomotive and then 6 cars, 5 hoppers and 1 caboose over there. If you're using something way longer than this stretch of track right here, because that just barely fits in this stretch of track, if you're using something way longer, something that stretches, say, from right here all the way to right here, I would not recommend doing this because then you have to run redstone all the fuck way over here again. But what I would suggest is hooking up this system. So I'm going to show you how that system works right now. Okay, so what I've done is I've just gone ahead and exposed the redstone, and I've hooked up the clock and disconnected the opposite end locomotive detector, and I've hooked up a button here. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to press this button and it's going to turn on the crossings, but it's going to send a signal. I've actually cut that sort of in half, so it's going to send the signal down there to the signal extender, and what's going to happen is it's going to finish closing down and it's going to come back up. Now unfortunately this thing is super slow, I'm pretty sure that's just because I'm running at fucking 19 frames, as you can see. Because I'm pretty sure it's faster when I'm not recording. But regardless, you probably want to, extend or shave this whole extender timer more, or shave it down, depending on how long it takes for the crossing gates to completely activate, till the arm comes down completely. And then after the arm comes down, it still needs to wait for the entire train to get through the crossing before the crossing gates can start lifting again. So something like this, you could even double it if you want to use super long trains. However, this will not work for all kinds of trains. If you have a super short train coming through here, the train will be long gone before these probably even come back around, before these crossing gates finish their little sequence. And if the train is able to come around the layout faster than this signal can turn the crossing gate off, then you're going to have multiple signals coming in and turning it off and turning it on and turning it off and turning it on, and it's just going to be a mess. So if you have really short trains and only really short trains, I would recommend using the double detector system that I have. But if you're using super long trains and only super long trains of similar size, definitely use this to conserve yourself some space and get rid of having to use a second one of these, because they're awful right now because they look so ugly. But yeah, so that's the crossing tutorial. It's something that I just wanted to show you guys, to show you how it works and how I built it and how it's now more efficient and less complicated than my old system. At any rate, if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to drop a like on that like button. And if you disliked it, go ahead and dislike it. But don't forget to subscribe either way, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.